'Cause I'm good, even better than I was the last stream, baby. Ooh, 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 I'm good. Ooh, ah, so good. Yeah, okay. Maybe not the most functional, but still high functioning. Yes. Sometimes the hormone energy, it can be very overwhelming. The constant buzzing in the mind, whether it be internal or external, right? It doesn't matter. We're all just little Tesla coils. Okay. Mwah. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is to you, Morphean. How are you doing? How's it going? I love those emotes. Okay, so I actually did write, nice. I did write this a little bit. I did write this, yes, true. I did write this. Is it done? No. But I wrote a few more pages that I'm excited about. And then the fucking pen died. Cool. So I'm gonna have to go out and get the exact same fucking pen because I will admit that yes, on some level, I never completely rid myself of OCD, as it was very, very apparent in my adolescence. Less so now, until it is. It's usually just looks more like autism now than OCD, but sometimes it's like the obsessiveness. It's like, okay, wait, so one more time. Or the compulsiveness, like, nope, the pen has to be exactly the same, right? Thank you. So I like the dimmer light in my face. Last night I did just the rainbow light. Tonight I have a regular light and the rainbow ring light. Because I was like, okay, I don't have a full blown migraine, but I don't love lights right now. I haven't for days. I spend the whole day like this. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize it was two different people chatting. Think, I was trying to message you today and I didn't realize you had a profile picture. Okay, so it was you. I was gonna send you the funniest thing that happened after our conversation the other night, and I'm dying. Yeah, it was like it was obviously not like the same person, but on Twitch, is that another thing? We also have to roll the ads real quickly, so I'll be back in a jiffy. It'll actually be 3 minutes. Twitch. I don't use Discord anymore. I don't have it. I had it. I think you are on there. I couldn't do it. Got so sick of it. I gotta roll the ad, so I'll just message you on Twitch. It'll be a good laugh. And then we'll go back to all this. Yes, yes. Be right back. Okie dokie. It is tiring in the chat. Who is so fucking tired? Did you just wake up? Oh my gosh. I just, as I sat here, yeah, sure, yeah. It was really weird. I think he is a mechanic and this other rando. It was just so funny. There was double confirmation for you, I think. Nobody just woke up and came on here. Hi. It's been a minute, Punch Drinker. Where you been? No, I'm just kidding. I don't care what people do. I'm so tired. It's confusing because I wasn't this tired just like a minute ago. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Literally, the first 5 minutes I was on here before the ad, I wasn't yawning at all, was I? No. Somebody's very tired in their bones and their soul. So like you need an exorcism kind of tired. Oh my god. What is that feeling? In your bones, in your gut, in your blood, in your everything. Oh my god. I feel it. It's so weird. It just came on like that for me. Like I haven't been like fine all day, but it's mostly just been like a head thing for me. I've been not so tired. I haven't done anything. I actually got a surprising amount of shit done today. Well, try not to use shit so much. Got an surprising, Jesus Christ. Got a surprising amount of things done today. So I wouldn't say that I was dysfunctional or incapable today as much as I just had these goddamn annoying headaches. And of course, hormones make it extreme. Fluctuations going from low estrogen to high estrogen to producing progesterone to no progesterone to kind of coping with testosterone to having none, essentially, right? Ha 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 ha. What a roller coaster. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, leveling out, right? Love the toast. Leveling out a bit. Toasty! And trying to feel out the headache. So you get past the hormones and the screeching, the buzz, the zzz, what is that? Cry a little bit, and then it's like, okay, feel better. That's hormones. So when you get past the hormone buildup, it's like, okay, no, something's still in my head. Ah, my ear's doing this. Y'all gonna piss me off. Let me tell you, y'all gonna piss me off. I understand, think about me, Kitsumi me, whatever, but you have to really know me and really be intent with your thoughts. If I can feel them like this much. To the point where it hurts my ears, my head, my whole day. Yeah, because it's harder to concentrate if everyone's so fucking concentrated on me and yet not speaking. Okay. Please. Please. Okay. Maybe that's tiring. Okay, so imagine me, and I just do this. I was the chosen one to do such work as I was to me, because I think purity of perception. What we're exposed to and when is a concept that somehow youth is sacred or sanctimonious, even, and that there's some kind of like lust after this reclamation of youth or even to take it from others, right? So I was always determined to be as pure as possible. 11. So, I'm telling the truth. Okay? It doesn't mean that I'm never wicked. In fact, it probably means that I have the capacity to be even more wicked than most people because I'm actively choosing purity, innocence, calming, all these things, right? So, the joys of knowing one and the other is to understand both and to let them conceptualize together. Okay. So, no, you do not get to have good without evil. You do not get to have love without hate. You do not get to have purity without wickedness. Okay? You do not get to have riches without poverty. You do not get to have anything without the other thing. That is sort of a lesson. Okay? I probably would have gone in the book if the pen didn't fucking die. So, do y'all want to read the pages and whatnot? We read a little Ram Dass with it, or not bother with Ram Dass? Do I start from the top? Have y'all even heard this yet? I've been reading it as we go and then adding on pages and then reading up to the page that I have to. And this time it died, so I just threw a poem in there that I wrote one morning after I was fucking talking to Anubis all night. So probably like a month ago, right? Maybe a month and a half. Okay, yeah, time goes in a flash. Time goes by, but it's so quick, and yet I feel so timeless. I feel ageless. I feel young. I feel like I've got so much ahead of me and so much behind me and so much in the present moment. It's crazy. It's just like it's such a concept to me to be in this reality, right? Like, hear me out. I know it sounds weird, but it's such a concept to me to be in this reality where people are living on this very linear schedule and they want to have this like tight, rigid kind of like daily motion, daily hum. And it keeps them rhythmic and on track and focused, but it also keeps them on a very finite timeline. And so they have like no wiggle room and no options and no room to breathe or exist or express or even have creativity unless they dedicate their whole life to it. Because who's got the time for this and that, right? Well, okay. Because what's the point of even bringing it up or pointing it out? There's no choice but to have that, right? Well, I don't know. Even in all my years that I did have the regular job, steady income, traditional employment, if you will, okay? Because I find nothing wrong with what I do. I find it's an inconsistent work and it's hard because the whole thing about doing the work of a holy man is to never solicit anyone for this. But simultaneously, I have to run a business. Simultaneously, I am selling other things and have other stuff going on. But what people are attracted to about me is the spirituality and the wisdom, right? Aside from like the good looks or cosmetics or art of it. But I am not here to push a spiritual message. However, if you do approach me, it's going to be because of your own spirituality or healing needs, right? That's really the idea of it. So it's very, very hard when you draw people in and you attract people to you and you kind of like advertise that you are available in that way of the work, of the, um, you know, art, consumption, business. But you're doing things for people that, again, has to be so consensual that people need to know what they're signing up for before they sign up for it, truly. Okay, because that's where your problem is. If I say, do your research before you ask me questions, do your research before you come to me, do your research, get another reading, make sure you know what you're doing, make sure you understand where I'm coming from, make sure you see the stream, make sure you're listening, make sure you, okay? So if you don't do that, okay, that's got to be on them. That's going to be on them. And I've always tried to do my research, so I contemplate things for a long time. And I think things out very thoroughly, and I live by the scientific method, and I love to experiment and create new hypotheses every day because the better the theories, the better the kind of like reality we can create, right? The better belief system we have, the better kind of community we can put in place. So if we feel that things are outdated, and we feel that things are kind of overrated or falling apart or just ineffective, okay, the systems we have in place, the things that we do as a society or the people that we've become over time in capitalism or other constraints. Like, really, it's corporatism. I've been saying capitalism lately to go along with everyone else's conversations, but it's really corporatism that is a problem. Something inherently wrong with capital. It's good to be able to measure our worth. It's just the fact that you put worth on everything. It's the fact that you put worth on survival needs and necessities. It's the fact that you put worth on human labor instead of appreciating it for what it is and what it's truly worth, and that is, a priceless measure of existence. literally. So, okay, that's deep. That's deep. Right. Obviously, that's where we're at. You're in the ocean with me. Okay. I didn't call myself like a mermaid all those years for no reason. I did forget the point, but that was it, wasn't it? Okay. So, holy, holy. Holy is the Lord. Would we like to, would you like to hear the book? Do we start from the top? Do we read a little Ram Dass? Feels like conversation could be anything because everyone's a little indecisive about things. As much as you want to know the answers, you have to let it unfold and just kind of let go and not know currently. Okay. So, what? You were thinking of me and here I appeared on your screen. How does that work? Because you didn't know you were thinking of me, you don't know who I am. Okay. So, how does that work? Well, something in your heart of hearts, in your deepest soul, some part of your knowing comes across this channel or me as a person in existence at some point in time ever. And you're just in the right place at the right time to be able to experience it together. And it's very powerful to witness two people interact for the first time, the last time, and the only time. Because we get that opportunity on a daily every time we go out and do anything. Every time life is channeling is life. Channel life is the thing. I think that's what I'm really doing. I just channel life. I channel life into things. I bring life to things. And some people don't see it that way because they're like, but you talk to dead people. You're so morbid. You're so dark. You're obsessed with death. You talk about Anubis. You do voodoo. You are so Lilith. Your destruction. Your chaos. How could you say that you channel life into things? Okay, well, what do you think life is? Yeah, I know it. I know it. And what is life? It is chaos. It is random, isn't it? That's what y'all said who don't believe in spirituality and say, oh, it's science, it's all random, it means nothing, it's pointless, atheism, right? Okay, well, in which case, then, I channel that. I'll make it random. I make it unperceivable. I make it improbable, impossible for you to fathom. To grasp a concept that I'd end up kind of like here and now. That's the whole point of any of our books, yes. Any of our teachings, any of our learnings, any of our experiences. And I can't fathom how someone would. Well, I can. It's funny. People could have access to me and they would still prefer to lurk and watch me from a distance than they would to approach me. And what I find odd or interesting or maybe even ironic about that is I have always been so much a loner and in true traditional wallflower fashion have always kind of sat to the side or been, pushed to the wayside or just sat on the bench and been kind of nosing a book, whether I'm writing or reading or whatever it is. I just can't help but think or see it in that way of ironic. Where, once again, I'm never going to come on here and pretend like I don't deserve all the things that happen to me just because I see a greater lesson in them or because I choose to point out how it might be affecting someone else. It's not like I went unscathed for any of those things to happen, right? Because all of my gifts were delayed. All of my achievements were unseen. All of my power was internally, okay? So just because horrible things happen to people who do me wrong for no reason, okay, doesn't mean that I go unscathed. But I make mere scratches out of things that would kill a person. Literally. I'm still baffled sometimes. How did I even walk back up the stairs, right? 3 fucking times. It's like few scratches. I can still walk and bend and sing and dance and have my whole head about me. It's pretty fucking crazy, the healing on this one. Pretty fucking crazy, the healing on this one. Pretty fucking crazy, the healing on this one. Do on the clock when I do that. I hit my head here. That's why sometimes it bothers me, but that's probably why I did it. Is because before I understood what bothered me, before I could tap in and get the downloads and understand the different frequency and feelings and the difference between my hormones and the difference between a psychic or channeling message or understanding my own psychosis versus psychic ability, right? Because I was familiar with psychosis, so I'd avoid everything that could be associated with it in the psyche. But you cannot just ignore the psyche. The psyche is exactly what sees things, interpreting every single thing that you are seeing or otherwise absorbing, should you be unable to see. Okay. Like, cool. Okay. Okay. Somebody comes on here and they learn so much, but they don't say a goddamn thing. And it's just like, how is that cool for me? How is that cool for me? How everybody acts like I ain't shit because they would be too embarrassed to admit that they dogged me and downed me for kind of like ever and for so long and still can't figure out how to say I'm sorry or I apologize or I could use your help or I owe you one. I owe you more than one. I owe you a lot. Because I have never been shy from saying those things to people. I have never been shy about apologizing when I have wronged someone. I've never been shy about admitting how I'm feeling in a moment and saying, oh, yeah, I've got no capacity for this. Or I hurt right now. Or I'm miserable out. Fuck. Well, it's none of my business what other people do. But just know that if you be in my business, about my business, or for whatever reason, make your business me, then I will know about these things. Like, that's what I've been saying. It's like, sure, you don't have to talk to me, but you can't think about me, and you can't look at me, and you can't just obsess over me because I'll know about that, and it doesn't count as talking. It actually just pisses me off. Decreases your chances of ever anything. Good Lord. Does it strengthen the connection? Somewhat, perhaps. To be so fixated on something that you know exists. Sure. That psychic connection. Being able to test its limits. It's extremely powerful, and I will lash out and I will say shit. That's what happens. That's what's always happened. It's just that I didn't recognize it. And being able to take off the trauma of having to deal with this my whole life without knowing, right, is like becoming, kind of your own wonder. It's overrated, by the way. It'd be cool. It's one of the only things I am is cool. Can count on my fingers how many times it's gotten me out of something. Okay, so shall we read? Or what's next? What do we want to do? We don't want to hear it yet? We like the cheddar. I'm saying a lot of very interesting things for having absolutely nothing to really say or specific to go over besides what I wrote today. I am a little excited for because I write it. I don't read it until I read it out loud, just like anything else. There's something about blocking your blessings that's coming up, And for me, I'm very much more about blocking lately than I used to be in the physical sense of like, oh, I'll just block random accounts that irritate me and the content is like, ew, I don't like this. Get it off my timeline. Don't care who the creator is. I'll just be like, block. Okay. use it more liberally. But blocking your blessings is kind of like being so adamant about the way things have been, or the way things were, the way things you want them to be, and to refuse any kind of, not even budging, but flexibility. It's about having flexibility. It's not about breaking everything you built in order to rebuild something else. It's about realizing you have a foundation that you can fall back on at all times, but realizing whatever it is that you built on top of that foundation can bend to the whim of life itself. Yes, because life is going to throw changes at you. Life is going to give you challenges. Life is going to hand you opportunities. What are you going to do with them? Say, nope, sorry, I already built something. Can't do it. Okay. Because that is sure to crumble. Do you not realize your environment has changed? Do you not realize your needs have changed? Do you not realize the person you are have changed? How can you reject the things that you're being given when they are the tools for your life as you live it? Okay. Okay. Who is that? Yeah, no, we all do know. Okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, you're imitating me and you don't even know me. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Someone's very high too. Yeah. Someone is very high. Hi. Maybe that's what it was. Was it all too much? Was it all just too much? I am too much. Y'all watch me on stream and get a little uncomfortable. Imagine interacting with me in real life. It honestly fucking sucks. You can't keep anything from me. You can't keep anything secret. You can't hide your cards. You can't not show your hand. You can't like exist around me without being like intruded upon, in a sense that it's totally innocent. I don't mean to. It's just like my mind wanders and all of a sudden it's in yours. Whoops. Especially like the closer you get to me or the more physically connected you are to me, right? Like, you know, thank you. I appreciate that. You're consenting to it. But people approach me in real life and be like, oh, you're a hot chick. Bitch, no, I'm the Oracle. Okay? Yeah. Like, what the fuck do you think this is? You cannot just like poke around and be like, what's this? And not expect to see everything that you need to see rather than what I'm showing. Okay. Cool. Yes. Very cool. Yes. And why is that? Because I talk to dead people. I know everyone that you have ever known and ever met who has passed away. And yet I know even more than that because I know your ancestors who lived before them who didn't live in your lifetime. Okay. Heavy stuff, man. Heavy hitters. It ain't for quitters. And I ain't even never mind. I can't even go down the road. It ain't lollipop because it ain't a fucking sucker. It's a whole thing, dude. Oh, you already know. You already know. Oh. And that's, you know, physically breaking all these bones. That's what that last verse is about in the new song. If you haven't listened to it yet, you should. It's on the homepage. So if you just click my website, you can scroll down and you'll see a big old picture that says, I done blowed your mind. And it's its song. I don't know. Probably at least 3. I would say at least 3. I would say 4, actually. When I said that at the end of the song, I meant it super, super literally when I was like, yeah, my skull cracked. My bones popped. I can't stop. Excited, respect that. Freaking out, fucked it, thugged out. I did the cash round. No, back to get money, suck a dick on the way out. Yeah, suck a dick. Yeah, and then there's just like the most fucking woo part of the song. Tough stuff, but I was intentionally being like, okay, yes, that is pretty rough. That's a flashback to your Freaky B era. Me when I was very drunk. Thank you. I don't know what that means, but okay. Thank you. Who does this? Who's the sad eyes? This long face. Who does this? Who's so sad? Who's so sad? Somebody came out here so sad. I look like Coraline's dad in the other world in the movie Coraline, in the puppet version of him. He's like, oh, spoiler alert, he's a puppet. Okay, what's with the creepy laughter? Yeah, a witch. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, shut up then. Okay. Okay, everybody relax. Romeo says, hey, it's Juliet. You nearly gave me a heart attack. He's underneath the window. She's singing, hey, love, my boyfriend's back. Don't you come around here singing up to people like that. Anyway, what you gonna do about it, Juliet? The dice was loaded from the start, and I bet that you exploded in my heart. I forget. You know, the movie song. Yeah, I couldn't even unpack that one. When you gonna realize it was just that the time is wrong, Juliet? Kind of everything white men did back then was racist because nobody told them otherwise, because they just had like the oppressor colonizing mentality that most people don't want to take on. Because honestly, it sucks and it's just not a good way of living and it doesn't make you a good person. So many people reject it, many people embrace it, but at the time it had a chokehold on everything and it was controlled in the media. It was the people who made those executive decisions, and we didn't have the autonomy of social media or interconnectedness via stuff like the internet and platforms where we could speak our minds to wider audiences, that we could voice our opinion on it at all. Yeah. It was pretty crazy times post 9/11. You know, think about like, okay, I've never actually fully watched Team America World Police. Like, I can't get through it. Everybody has AIDS. I was just like, dude, I kind of just can't even do that. Like, it's just so disrespectful on so many levels. But the satirical nature of it probably held up because America is so much of the same way as it was 20 years ago. It's pretty nuts. It's pretty crazy. Okay. So when you, oh, okay, never mind. Um, because somebody's just thinking about everything I've ever said to them. Okay. And yeah, you want to hear more, and yeah, you want to talk to me more, but then you also, don't know how to have conversations with me because I look so pretty, or seem so silly, or kind of can take things so seriously while also being very lighthearted about that and that kind of energy. And that can be so threatening to someone who can just kind of nonchalantly watch as these things unfold, but still want something more. Huh. I kind of don't even know what I say sometimes. It's like literally, yes, I can hear what you think of me. I can hear what you say about me. It's so uncomfortable for me. And it's not always obvious who it is, and sometimes if I try to confront people for it, I don't always get like an honest answer or the answer that I think I'm gonna get, because I can be told that I'm wrong. I don't think that's Mikey. I don't think Mikey has such like a fun fucking outlook on my ass. I don't think Mikey would have been running his mouth if he were thinking of me fondly. Yes. Or maybe I interpreted it the wrong way, but I just think if you're gonna copy somebody so blatantly, so much, so obviously for so long, it's just like eventually you've got to stop where they're, especially if they've moved on. Like I moved on, and then it's like, okay, so you're popping back up because I kind of just was like exploring like the idea of being able to make not retributions or reprimands. What is the word? Um, I was making, forget it. Somebody's like, whoa, yeah, fucking piss me off, bro. So fucking piss me off, bro. See what happens when you piss me off, bro. A diss track, apparently. No, come on. It's not even that bad. I used to be way worse. I used to be way worse in my writings and my speaking, and that's why my life was shit for so long. Like, straight up was just like, no matter how positive and hopeful I was still like taking it all out via like words in text or in argument or in writing, where I would just like unleash the beast that was PMDD rage, untempered with and covered by trauma and just like ill will and ill intent and being continuously sadistically abused in multiple ways without realizing it because of course the self abuses. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? Because it is kind of so toxic and abusing the PMDD. If you go and watch and read some of the stories that people share, PMDD Reddit, PMDD Facebook group or stuff like that, community bulletins basically, you'll hear repeatedly it's like this violence instilled upon us maybe, but it's also inflicted every month where it's like your body just gets so pissed off that it's not pregnant, even if you don't want that, even if it doesn't actually stop being pregnant or once you have a kid. It's just like this weird way of internalizing trauma that gets your hormones involved and can affect every aspect of your life mentally, physically, emotionally, and well, I kind of want to say somewhat spiritually is what I'm finding. Because I became a lot more spiritually powerful having gone through this fucking blood ritual, and resolve every month got stronger and stronger because I had to rationalize what I could let go of and how much of my life I could give up for something because I was willing to give my entire life up. Like, give it up over nothing at all. Like over hormones. Being like, dude, I can't take this cycle one more motherfucking time. I can't go up and down again and be on the ground over nothing and bleeding out like I'm gonna die here. And then have to get back up and have anxiety about how I've never accomplished anything because I've only had half the month every fucking month for my whole life. Like, holy fuck, man. It used to be such, an intense cycle that I'm finally starting to grasp and get over and be able to control. Yeah. Excitement, 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 excitement. Because I'm using all this alternative medicine and I'm doing all these crazy, extreme things and having like very strong regimens, even though I don't have a strong schedule, which is why I don't have a strong schedule because I have to have strong regimens. I can't agree to be somewhere 9 to 5 days a week because sometimes I gotta eat fucking 6 grams of nutmeg just to like chill out enough, okay, to be a regular functioning person. But it actually kind of twirls you up and gives you this hallucinatory factor of like being stoned, and even furthermore, but at least you're not suicidal, bro. What the fuck? Oh, okay, girl. And then you think that I got time for some shit like, bro, what? All right. So I'm very strictly regimented. I'm not strictly scheduled. Okay. Keep my schedule open and be able to schedule around these regiments. That's why I have had to choose this course. Stay on it. Horrid. Okay. Talking is exhausting, isn't it? It's only been 40 minutes. It feels so fucking long. Last night I was like, wow, it's already been 2 hours. Tonight I'm like, oh my god, it's only been 40 minutes because I'm pretty much carrying the conversation and talking to myself at this point. 6 people watching, a few chatters. Don't get me wrong, it's totally appreciated. But some nights people kind of get in on the conversation and help guide it more. And then other nights it's more like this where I appreciate all your support and people don't always have a lot to say because sometimes these concepts go right over the head and sometimes they don't quite sink in until later on, or sometimes you get fixated on the thing that you want to hear, or you just want me to keep going because it's very intriguing and interesting and kind of you do get a lot out of it. And what do I get out of it? People always wonder what I get out of these things. I guess I've gone over that a few times, yeah. Well, to some degree I get money. To some degree I get spiritual payment, or I get to level up each time I use my gifts. Right? It's not that they do deplete, it's that they get stronger and more capable. Okay? It depends on your own beliefs, but yeah, it's not going to go away just 'cause you don't use it until you lose it. You just use it and keep using it and you get better and better at it. It's like practice makes permanent. Okay. Because I would wonder how long you have been watching me if you have always said that you've never watched me. And you always said you did not know where to find it and how it was and kind of all this stuff. And then you're up all night and you're contemplating, like, because you can't look away, right? So interesting. So interesting. But I get it. It's intensity. It's sad to me. It's hard. I just, you have to come at people with radical honesty for that reason because you can hear them so loudly, right? Heart hurts. Heart hurts because people will not give themselves a chance with me. It is too scary to be known and to be loved no matter what. And the thing is, you can think that you may choose to know and love someone, but when you are kind of dealing with me, you are being known by someone who can know you objectively as well as you know yourself because they can kind of hear you, right? And be in there. And to love because I remain on the frequency of love and I am not just a teacher of life but a preacher of love and I practice love and I put love into everything that I do. It's a different form of love than you're used to. You're used to a kind of materialistic, tied down 3D version of what people assume love is and kind of the daily motions of what we are taught as ritualistic love. Being in the habits and the nature of tradition, being in the way that we come together and the way we do things for one another, and that's what love is. But to me, or someone like me, okay, in the right conditions or terms, which is none at all, is to see someone kind of wholly truly as themselves and beyond what they do and say, and understanding what they really mean, and seeing their actions as the child within growing up to becoming the person they were meant to be is so fascinating and very interesting. People who are happy probably have little to do with me. People who are unhappy probably have a harder time letting go of me. People who seek happiness will find me. People who find happiness will seek me. But alas, the road is lonely because you have to admit that someone could know you, that someone could love you. And for some reason, that's the scariest part. It's not that I can do it, but to admit that you'd even want it. And that's what holds people up, and that's what holds people back, is to know that instantly already, and even because, just because you're here, just because you showed up, just because you are before me, I say, yes, I can love. What ails you? What's wrong? What healing have you come for? And what does your purpose serve for love? Pleasure, because that's kind of wherever you are. To have pleasure in what you do, pleasure in the breath that you take. Because my lungs are clear and my nose is a little stuffy, but less so than it was maybe a year ago or 6 months ago in the winter. Pleasure in this cup of coffee that I've been drinking all day that is endless because I keep refilling it from the pot that is so big that I cannot drink it all in one day. And I think that's kind of a beautiful thing. That's lovely. I think that's lovely. Oh my gosh, that's kind of lovely. And it is okay to love me back in any capacity that you can. And it is okay to not commit to the idea that love means anything more than in the moment, in the face, in the front, in the eyes of the world that you see through. To say, okay, yes, I love you. I see where you are. I see where you're at. You're right in front of me. You're right before me. Oh my goodness. That is love, isn't it? Yes. To experience life, to embrace every moment, every given opportunity, mwah, right before you, right because it's right there, right because it's right for you, because you're on the brink of your own truth. in all moments that you do what you do. Okay, very cool. Speechless, if you will. Because it is very spiritual. And sometimes I don't always know the spiritual meaning of my own life, and I don't always know what the purpose of spirituality in my life is. And sometimes my spirituality somehow just could never be applied to my own existence, where I could have this inclination for others and be able to talk things out for others and connect to others and tell them what they need to hear. But for some reason, I can never tell myself, or my intuition's always off for me. And so I seek almost like the guidance and spiritual teachings that I offer to others back unto me. But it's very rare I get that, because most people are too intimidating and say, well, you know everything. Well, you're wrong about some things, or I can't do it, or it's, well, I need this and I need that, and how come, well, if I need you, then you can't need me. Yes. Or that's, the goal is to be mutual about things and mutually need one another, mutually understand that your guidance is as good as mine if the guided is not so lost. Okay, so say you're a tarot reader, okay, and you go up against me, a tarot reader, but I'm a vet and you're a rookie. But so I'm a vet. I kind of just need a little thing here and there, a little message. Oh, thank you. Okay, that's cool. It doesn't need to be much. It doesn't need to be perfect. You don't even need to know what it is or what you say, or how much of it is accurate or anything. Sometimes it's not even validation, it's affirmation, because I'd like to get outside of my own head. I'd like to hear it from someone else once in a while, just to affirm that it's still real. And the stream is nice, but again, it doesn't apply to my life. Because, okay, yeah, you can see that. But then you keep going, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. You forget that you're even here. You forget you're even there. You forget you're both places at the same time. All of the time. And that time is as long as you want it to be. And time is as infinite as it needs to be. And time is as abundant as anything. But we are so rigid and linear about the way we perceive it and the way we spend it, that we cannot get lost in a moment, because we are on such a minuted moment that each moment that passes has become completely numerical and therefore in order. Whereas time, despite how you structure it as being so linear, time is spatial. Time exists always, okay? It is the amalgamation of everything that has ever happened. It rotates and spins and digests and reforms and implodes itself and explodes itself and surrounds in circular motion constantly without even moving. Time is like a ball of energy, and we're all in it somehow. Ugh, so confusing, because when you think of the literal terms and definitions of things, it's almost as if the space can be accessed from within, and that's kind of, yes, what Donnie Darko is. Okay. You don't have to bring that up, but you can. Okay. Either way, there's a reason you're so interested in this. Enthralled in the conversation, enthralled in the guessing and the games and the back and forth and the quietness. Okay. And it's far from me being interesting, but that life can be boring if you cannot find your own perspective on how to make it yours. Okay. Without expressing your own unique individuality, you supersede to your end and become nothing more than an animal with human skin. Some people would say, that's great, that's fine. I love my natural side. My nature is to be animal, right? Survival and impulse. Okay, yeah, cool. No, I get that. But then again, would you have not been born an animal without clothing? Would you have been born an animal without the choosing of how to do your hair and how to see the world and what you want to share and what you want to do and how you want to look and how you want to appear? Okay? And all these buildings and cars and things. If you were going to be an animal, you would have just been one. And of course, we can be under the same class or genus as some of them, primates and whatnot. But at the end of the day, we're probably more extraterrestrial than that and not necessarily of this planet. I think we need to embrace that a lot more often than any of us do or any of us want to. Yeah? Because how long has it seemed since I said, oh, it's been 40 minutes? It's now been 12 more. Okay. Feels like an eternity here. I've always been able to make time stop. It's fucking scary. Kind of. You get caught up. You think, oh my God, this moment's never going to end. Okay? Day in and day out. Same thing, same thing. Not for me, yeah? Every day is a new, unique journey. Because I walk it that way. Because I decide today is going to be different. Because I decide I'm going to learn something new. Because I decide I'm going to consume something I've never consumed before. Because I decide I'm going to make or create or do something that will allow me to have an experience that I've never had before. And I'm going to embrace it in a way that I actually take note of these things and celebrate them rather than experience them without noticing, without being grateful for. Okay? Because you can pass by all the green lights in your day, but it is only when you're stopped by the red ones that you complain. Oh my God, okay. Okay. Very cool. I'd like to read now, since nobody's really chatting with me. I kind of want to read a little bit from Be Here Now so we can talk about it. And then I kind of want to read my own version, follow up, companion piece, feminine in energy. Be forever always. It's not yet complete. Today I added a few pages and I got to the halfway point and then my pen died or it would have kept going because I had it in my mind. Yeah, I think so. I think we can. I think some dreams are within our minds and I think some are within the astral plane that sits with death, hell, and other things of that nature, the eternal garden and everything. Kind of do think that. Masterclass, yeah. Yeah, I've always said that I've worked other jobs there. But I'm finally retired. I'm working that job here now. I've embraced that role that I play there. I used to think of my dreams as time traveling, right? Now I'm awake and I say, oh yeah, I'm a time traveler and I don't have as heavy dreams anymore, yeah? It's not the case for everybody. Everybody's got different things to do. I just got this like overwhelming scent, smell, taste of you. It's somebody it's not for me though. It's like somebody I don't know. Crazy. Yeah. Okay. We got like 10 minutes until I have to roll the ads, so I think I'm gonna roll them so we can get to the reading mode and everything, and I'm gonna have a little snack before I come back. And now I regret not making myself the sandwich I wanted for dinner because I was like, oh, I just don't. Sometimes the heat and the ovulation leaves you with very little appetite, to say the least. Because the appetite for dick is too strong to have an appetite for anything else. Kind of crazy, estrogen, that one. Anyways, okay. I bid you adieu. No, I'm kidding. I'll be back in 3 minutes. Cool, cool, cool. All right. We're getting into reading mode. I was snacking on the break. And next one, I gotta pee. Please remind me if I don't say I'm going to the bathroom. You gotta be like, yo, did you ever take a piss? And I'll be like, fuck, no. Like 3 hours from now, it'll be awful. So just try to remind me, okay? Hopefully this conversation will be so embarrassing in my memory that I'll remember. And you're all like, if you need to go, just go now. It doesn't really work like that. I know it's coming. My egg. We'll get into it. We're gonna read this. So, Cancer incense here. It is Cancer season. By the way, we made it. Folks, it's Cancer season. June 21st. Is it also not the first day of summer? I had not even considered. Happy summer, happy Cancer season. It's very beautiful energy and very intentionally. Okay, people did these things with intent. The zodiac, the seasons, it all makes sense. The planetary motions, the gods and goddesses behind them, the reverence of each day of the week. Like this was all very, very crafted in spirituality and even religion and hierarchies since the dawn of man and our own societies. People act like this is some brand new kind of like hoo-hoo shit, and it's like, dude, everything that we know was based upon these same principles and things. You can't just like dog it now. Like, no, it's been thousands of years that it's been accepted as like, okay, like even queerness, right? 2 spirit, 3, 4 spirit people, multiple genders, non-binary, whole existences. Like, come on, dude. Like whole societies of non-binary people. It's not like a new thing. Okay? It's all very old. Just like astrology and everything, you know. And once again, looking at the way that the zodiacs mark the not calendar but the weather patterns, okay? Those energies shifting in and out. Okay, so it's just like people who still hate and deny and don't believe and reject these things or write them off as silly or kind of like less evolved somehow than like other scientific theories that even if we accept as law are still just that, theories, yeah, okay, or like even who can accept organized, traditional, and somewhat Christian or Christian based valued religions that would associate with Christianity or mainstream religion is totally okay, but then anything alternative to that is questionable. Because this stuff that we do is mental, but the fucking blind praise to a fucking guy you can't even fathom. If you don't like me, you don't like Jesus. I'm sorry. I'm not saying I am Jesus. I'm not comparing myself to Jesus. But what Jesus preached and practiced is very similar to many of the things that we preach and practice. Okay, because radicalized nationalists made up half the disciples, bitch. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. Because Jesus could talk to dead people. Because Jesus had a connection to a higher source or another power or God, right? Okay. He also brought people back from the dead, including himself. He did it at least twice. He's a necromancer in a more physical way than I, but still a necromancer, right? So if you don't like me, what makes you think you would actually like Jesus? Huh. Okay. Let's continue. I'm ripping the bomb before we read. Cheers. In all my years, I've never seen anybody so pretty. Be so bitty. So itty bitty. It's that old Catholic age. Humility. Christ is saving. Let's read that poem back, okay? Where is my poetry book? I wasn't going to read anything from it, but then I just want to read this. Okay, I wrote this probably in a coffee shop in 2011. Probably end of 2011 when I started composing this book. I just like wrote this real quick. Maybe it was right before I published it, which would have been 2012 or 13. But I may have put it in an order of things when I was putting the book together back in, like I said, 2011, at 2011. So I just want to read this. This is original by me. 2 people or 3 or 4, sometimes less, but often more. This and that one, those who have none, tangled up and around and in, saving self or starting sin. To the artists, the dreamers, the poets, believers, the dancers, the singers, the hoopers, the swingers, the wanderers, the wonderings, kings and queens, lovers, dealers, doers, feelers, the speakers, the thinkers, the smokers, the drinkers. May your souls find their ways to brighter days and your hearts enjoy the ride. Okay, so why did I read that out loud? Well, I guess you could probably figure that out yourself, right? And yes, I've read it on stream before, and yes, it's been available on Amazon, and before that, CreateSpace. So to say that you have no idea that I wrote that, or that it was my energy, well, that would just be a questionable thing to really try to claim, don't you think? Be Here Now, Ram Dass. We're in part 3 of the Psychedelic Bible, which is the cookbook for a good life, for a sacred life. Renunciation. You might think of renunciation in terms of some external act like a New Year's resolution or leaving family and friends to go off to a cave. But renunciation is much more subtle than that, and much harder, and much, much more continuing. On the spiritual journey, renunciation means non-attachment. To become free of attachment means to break the link identifying you with your desires. The desires continue. They are a part of the dance of nature. But a renunciate no longer thinks that he is his desires. What is the necessity of giving up the world altogether? It is enough to give up the attachment to it. Ramakrishna. A sarak, someone doing sarana, sees clearly that his craving is creating his own veil of illusion. At this point, desires start to fall away of themselves. The process is called the onset of vairag, the falling away of the worldly desires. As each one falls away, more subtle forms of desire arises. These too must be given up. Eventually, the only desire is for bliss. Then, that one must be thrown away. As long as any desire pulls or pushes you, you are like a flame which flickers in the winds. But as you come to your center, as you break the identification with desire, you become calm like a candle in a niche where no wind comes. Remember, you can't do away with desire or give it up or try to get rid of it. However, with increased wisdom and preoccupation with your sadhana, desires will just fall away. You can't rip the skin from the snake. It will shed its skin when it is ready. Hari Das Baba. And as you extricate yourself from your attachments and become quiet, you will be able to know more and more clearly how it all is, the way. And the more clearly you hear, the more your actions will be in harmony with the way, with his will. Then you will truly understand, not my will, but thy will, O Lord. Okay. It's weird I was saying Lord earlier on the stream. I usually just say God or some Jesus, but I was just saying Lord. Potent quotes. Desire is a trap. Desirelessness is MOXA, liberation. Desire is the world. Desire is the creator. Desire is the destroyer. Hari Das Baba. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Jesus. Yeah, 11111. So if you don't, you were listening to this, like, what the fuck does that mean? What the fuck is that? Sounds like something she would say. It reminded me of a poem I wrote, honestly. It literally reminds me of a poem in this book. I'm just going to read it because you know what? I wrote it when I was like 16 years old. I wrote it for my creative writing class. No, I think I wrote it for my Shakespeare class. So honestly, I think I wrote it when I was 15 years old because that was my sophomore year of high school. And I think I took it first semester and I didn't turn 16 until April. So I think I was 15 years old and I wrote this poem. Okay, so this was like way before I did drugs. I probably didn't even smoke weed yet, maybe, if anything. And then the next thing I would have done was probably pop some pills, but I was not doing no goddamn psychedelics. But I had gone to Catholic school. Now, my use of doth and stuff is what indicates that it was for my Shakespeare class, which I took before I took creative writing. But okay. To the truly unruly, unholy, unattainable world, we have never been formally introduced, but I know who you are. You are everything good and everything gold, but most importantly, everything evil and all that is dust. I once wore the shell of a turtle's back. As a snake doth shed his skin, I rid myself of protection. Now so alive, but no better than the snake, a serpent, a demon, with a craving for the innocence lost, what's done once gone, forced to keep walking, leaving a particular print with every step, not knowing where it is. I had thrills with things that kill along the way, happy, no, satisfied, no, content, perhaps, but in any case, at my rate, we are fools and liars. Good becomes evil as gold becomes dust, as smiles are frowns and births are deaths. Peace will be war, friends to enemies, truly unruly, unholy, untamable, unattainable world. I know who you are, but I let myself care. I feel a strange love for you and all, so distant from me, but under my feet, in my heart, within arm's reach. I want to bandage what sores have surfaced, what broken things that were never together, what was never whole, that cannot be fixed, what was never to begin. All I can do is watch it fall, each civilization, each kingdom, each being, and let it unfold. Before me will work on composing each word, forming a thought and being heard. Keep your radios because we'll die singing our songs no one asked to hear, the only ones to deny our fear. We'll die one by one, incomplete, but content at the very least. Okay, so then what did Jesus say? Lay not up for yourselves treasure upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasure in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart be also. Remember, you can't do away with desire or give it up to try and get rid of it. However, with increased wisdom and preoccupation. Said Anna, oh, that's not what I meant to read. You can't rip the skin from a snake. It'll shed its skin when it's ready. Haridas Baba. Those two quotes reminded me of that poem. That's why I read it. Carry on. What are you going to do? Nothing? Okay. If a pickpocket meets a holy man, he will only see his pockets. Haridas Baba. Okay. I will take the opportunity to talk about this, yes. Okay. I have a very fun and interesting dating history. Dating being going on dates and like who cares what it means, right? So not that deep, but there was a Virgo once and he was very badly addicted to drugs, but when I met him he was rehabilitating, or so I thought, right? I got swindled. He taught me so much about things. He literally showed me that con artistry is exactly that. It's an art, right? To be able to swindle and con someone, or to be so in touch with your emotions that you become empathetic, but you actually don't have any, so you just take and run, right? So I am a holy man. At the second time, I kind of let him, you know? I kind of did know better, and I kind of just trusted anyways to really show and prove that, like, some people change and some people don't, right? And the core of our being, because I was so angry the first time, but I was not so angry the second time, but perhaps reacted in a similar way both times, anyways, because the same thing had happened. Okay. Huh. If a pickpocket meets a holy man, he will only see his pockets. Okay. amazing. It's incredible work. Because you could have so much more than what you could take from my pockets. You could have healing. You could have your whole life back. You could have truly be freed of all of your ailments and addictions working with me. But people rarely have the patience or desire to actually be free of those things, because having those crutches makes it possible for you to be excusing and be kind of a mess, or be under the spell of something, or have it is really an excuse. Having an excuse, having an excuse, having an excuse. But I need this crutch. But I need to be this way. But I want to be like this. But I want my life like that. I actually enjoy my misery. I like being this way. I like being addicted. I like being in the throes of things. I like being in the cycle. I like not breaking the pattern. I like passing on my trauma to my emotionally damaged children. Okay. Yeah. That's life, bro. Because people find me when they need that stuff. But when I say, yes, you can get that, they say, at what cost? And I say, well, none. You just have to be good to me and do right by me. Communicate honestly, thoroughly, truthfully. And they say, okay, no. Now, all right. I mean, that's your life, though. That's your life, though. It's your life on the line. Without your healing, what happens? You die unhealed, and you come back and you start over again. Oh, okay. I hear that. It's already hellish here, right? A hellish place. That's because you didn't learn your lessons, babe. I have a job that awaits. I could have chosen the garden, John Lennon. I could have chose the council at the table. I heard Anubis call. I said, oh, that makes sense, you know? When I go home, I'm going home to something. And because I know that, or because I believe that, it makes everything in this life so much easier to cope with. Because no matter what happens, I'll enjoy this. No matter what happens, this isn't that serious. No matter what happens, I have something to fall back on. Because it's the end. That's truly amazing. It's truly amazing. I see why some people believe in heaven. Do I? No, not necessarily. I think the garden is heaven, and I'd like to go visit. I don't know that there's really a heaven. I think there's just this astral plane that incorporates a lot of ideas that people think, and people go different places or tell different things, and you can watch and see over things, but there's a lot going on. The other side, within us, around us, above us, is, if you want to see it as space, or higher beings, higher dimensions, multifaceted universes, wormholes. All of those things work in these dynamics that parallel to the way the human body would function, in the same way that there are empty spaces between our atoms, right? So if you could break down the concepts of something like the human body, and you could apply those broken down bits and pieces of concepts to something like outer space, and you could see how what you're looking at is maybe more complicated than it appears to be, because it sounds a bit simple to say there's this vast nothing, it's constantly expanding, there's these great big balls of gas suspended in it, and then there's certain forces that keep things centered to different stuff, even though it's all spinning and moving and expanding at every cost. There's certain things that pull things closer to them. Wow, okay. Crazy, because I was just describing like the planets. Why is it that the solar system is forever expanding, but within our Milky Way, we have a solar system in which the sun is attracting the planets towards it? Because we are meant to become the end eventually. Yes, that's eventually we die, just like the human body dies. Eventually our solar system will die. Eventually we will implode into the sun, just as it's meant to be, because these orbits and these axes, they're all slanted. Okay, it's spiraling. Global warming could be real. I think it is, right? Where we just accelerated things, but at some point you have to surrender to the idea that anything really truly matters, in the sense that it's going to happen eventually, inevitably, regardless. But you can still care about the process. You can still show life, the world, the universe, God, whoever, that you actually like this life and you actually care about the world around you. You actually care about these things, because then it'll start reflecting back to you, right? Caring for your body, caring for your environment, caring for your everything you have and own. Okay, cool. Keeping it clean, keeping it orderly, keeping it tidy. That's why they say cleanliness is next to godliness, because it's really gratitude that you're showing, graciousness that you're showing, appreciation that you're showing. Okay. Beautiful, baby. It's very beautiful. Let's keep going. Wheresoever the body is, thither will the eagles be gathered together. Jesus. On the head of poverty, 3 renouncements are inscribed. Quit this world, quit the next world, quit quitting. Sufi poet. When you got nothing to lose. You're invisible now, you got no secrets to conceal. Bob Dylan. That's like the worst line, worst take from that song you could possibly just pull out of fucking context, Ram Dass. It sounds like garbage. And it's Bob Dylan. How did he even make it to the fucking book? That's ridiculous, but it is a great song and I love him. To some degree, to some extent, because, you know, these old heads and Gemini men, they just are what it is, yeah? The fly that touches honey cannot use its wings, so the soul that clings to spiritual sweetness ruins its freedom and hinders contemplation. Aurobindo. He consciously moves with the cosmic current. In moving, he loses nothing but his limitations. He can take with him, in essence, all the experiences and understanding that he has gained. Collins. The essence of civilization consists not in the multiplication of wants, but in their deliberate and voluntary renunciation. Fucking Gandhi. Gross. 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 Gandhi was one sadistic, evil, torturous motherfucker who experimented cruelly upon children who were more or less unconsenting, but he was a colonizer with a bunch of money and people let him do what he wanted, 'cause he was a hot shot lawyer. So what was he doing? Sexual experiments on fucking children in the bed with him. What? Yeah, look into that one. Gandhi, kind of fucked up, kind of not that cool, kind of not that dude. Okay. Yo, we can forgive a lot, but he didn't even want to address it. He didn't even want the public to know it. When do I shy away from the horrible things I have done? Pretty much never. The fuck. Okay. The actual true mark of a holy man is not the holy life he leads, but his ability to accept that he himself has not always been holy. That's on me. Fuck Gandhi. Lay it down, drop it, let it go, sing it out, throw it out. Going all the way is holy, but alas, some linger on the path to see and smell the pretty golden sunflower, hold hands with eternity, or practice ecstasy bliss, or circulate the light, or reach neither perception nor non-perception, but lingering anywhere you might. Get stuck for kalpas. You can't go forwards or backwards or stand still. Move, move, move. Bhagavan Das. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body that raiment? Jesus. Quoting Jesus a lot in this book. He's quotes Mahatma Gandhi, not Gandhi, what the fuck? Maharaj, whoever the fuck they talk about all the time, the guru and everything, and then Jesus, which he was probably a guru, right? Oh, Jesus is a teacher, according to these teachings. Yes, okay. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Jesus. By letting it go, all gets done. The world is won by those who let it go. But when you try and try, the world is then beyond the winning. Tao Te Ching. How's everybody doing? I can read this next section, which is, these 4 pages. 5 pages, 4 pages. I'll do it. I got 30 minutes till the next ad break. Tapasya. The simplest and most direct type of renunciation would seem to be to just give up the satisfying of one's desires. That is, if one preoccupied with eating and oral gratifications, just fast. If one is obsessed with sexual concerns, just give up sex, and so on. This technique is known as tapasya, or straightening by fire. If a man gives way to all his desires or panders to them, there will be no inner struggle in him, no friction, no fire. But if I hear you, I can hear you. I can hear you. Okay, I just want to make that really clear. It's going in my ear. I can hear you. Okay. Don't be confused. But if for the sake of attaining a definite aim, he struggles with the desires that hinder him, he will then create a fire which he will gradually transform his inner world in a single whole. Ouspensky. The struggle that comes through imposing austerities upon oneself as a systematic part of one's sadhana is a powerful form of inner confrontation. It certainly shows you where you are not. For example, if you usually get up at 8 a.m. as everyone else does, trying to get up at 4 a.m. every morning, Buddha and other high beings have noted that the best time of day to work on oneself is between 4 and 7. I love that because I'm always bitching about 6 to 10 is not my hours, but 3 to 6 is my hours, and that kind of makes sense because it's just an adjustment to a time zone, or the numbers, right? Or perhaps you like sleeping in a really comfortable bed. Yeah, of course you do. Start sleeping on a thin mat on the floor. But there are 2 warnings to be kept in mind with regarding to any austerities. 1. Austerities can be performed in ways to enhance or strengthen the ego. I would just like to point out that they are saying austerities. I say resolve. Same fucking thing. Same fucking thing. I have all this power in the world to see and know what and spy on who and whatever I want. You know how corrupt and evil I would be and how much more difficult my life would become. Have I ever used that ability for that reason, without purpose, without intent or guidance or resolve? Okay. Pride in how much one is suffering and masochism are 2 examples. Another thing that people must sacrifice is their suffering. No one who has not sacrificed his suffering can work. Nothing can be attained without suffering, but at the same time, one must begin by sacrificing suffering. Ouspensky. 2. Austerities that are excessive in relation to the degree of spiritual development of the individual are merely demonstrations of ego, will, and as such can harm the body or the mind in such a way as to make further sadhana in this lifetime difficult or even impossible. And even in his corrections, let him act with prudence, and not go too far, lest, while he seeketh too eagerly to scrape off the rust, the vessel be broken. Rule for the Abbot, chapter 64. I don't know, somebody's pinky is bothering them. Maybe your pinky is broken. Maybe you're missing a pinky. Maybe you're fidgeting with your pinky or have a ring on something on you. Something about the pinky here. Pinky promise, a weird thing. Pinky promise, kind of something like that. I don't know. 2 examples. There is a method of meditation in which a sadhak sits in the lotus position in the desert and looks directly into the sun without blinking from sunrise to sunset. Now, it is obvious that if most people were to try this, they would be blind themselves through the burning their retina. This particular exercise is only safe to do when one has evolved to see such a point that in his mind, totally one pointed, and thus can keep his eyes open and directed at the sun without ever even once looking at the sun. Pranayam, which utilizes control of breath in order to control pran, or the life force, involves in its advanced forms of the stopping of the breath for extended periods of time. One arrives at these very delicate forms of pranayam only after considerable purification of body and mind, for they require that the breath stop, although the sadhak feels no experience of holding his breath. One overzealous aspirant injected chemical agents to strengthen his will and override his body's warning system, and then forced himself into deeper and deeper pranayam. He died, and leaving the body this way entails ego, and thus is a subtle form of suicide which leaves him with more work to do, but no body to do it in. Until next time. Is he talking about overdose, right? Such warnings make a person really want a nice, wise, paternal type teacher to impose discipline. But waiting for such a teacher is usually a cop out, for at this point, practically everything a teacher would say to us we already know. There are many ways on our own that we can get on with it. Later, when we have progressed on the path of purification and really needs a teacher, he will appear. In undertaking any tapasya, one is usually underwhelmed by the amount of ego that creeps in. Pride, self-pity, wanting to stop because it all seems meaningless or confusing or is too slow, all the ego demons, and many more drop around to foil any such undertaking. 1,000 times they will succeed and you will give up your program in disgust, but 1,001 times you will return your efforts because you see how it all is. That's just the way it is. As many times as you trip and fall, i.e., given into a desire just to get up. There is a tendency when we fall for many of us to sit around and feel guilty and wallow in self recrimination. However sinful a person may be, if he would stop wailing inconsolably, "Alas, I am sinner! How shall I attain liberation?" and casting away even the thought that he is a sinner, if he zealously carried on, he would most assuredly get reformed. Ramana Maharishi. Such self recrimination is just more of the ego dance. Let it go by and get on with it. After all, if you were finished, you wouldn't need to begin. Just accept where you are in the here and now and proceed full speed. And so, for those who can undertake austerities without feeling that they are too austere, perhaps even proceed with joyfully, here are some suggested exercises. Exercises. 1. Get in the habit of remaining silent for a few hours a day. Done. This is most easily done when one is at home around people who understand what you're trying to do. In India, if you are silent, everyone immediately says, "Ah, Morana," and honors you. In the West, people either interpret silence as a sign of your hostility towards them or as a physical illness about which they feel pity. Either of those reactions make your work more difficult. At first, you may want to remain by yourself during these few hours. Later, you will be able to be around people comfortably without having to speak. Soon you may feel that you are ready to undertake 1 day of silence a week. Some spiritual communities have incorporated a day of silence into their program for the entire group. Many communities take meals in silence. 2. If you wish to undertake long periods of silence, you may wish to work with a chalkboard. A piece of light slate about 4 by 5 inches can be worn on a piece of twine or rope around the neck. With a piece of chalk also attached to the twine, you can convey any necessary messages of practical import. This device, although somewhat cumbersome, is an excellent technique for showing a person his own verbosity. To have to write down every communication quickly leads one to convey the essence of communication without all the redundancies and amplifications. With such a device, Haridas Baba has carried on much worldly work for 15 years without speaking. The effects of this very modest tapasya will very quickly be manifested in the forms of more calmness of mind and more energy and the ability to hear more around you. Other exercises of tapasya are included in other sections of This cookbook. Potent quotes. Conserve your powers. Daily renewed senses, yearnings sap your inner peace. They are like openings in a reservoir that allow vital waters to be wasted in the desert soil of materialism. The forceful, activating impulse of wrong desire is the greatest enemy of happiness of man. Roam in the world as a lion of self-control. Do not let the frogs of sense weakness kick you around. Sri Yukteswar. I realized in this place that people feared silence more than anything else. That our tendency to talk arises from self-defense, and it is always based upon a reluctance to see something, a reluctance to confess something to oneself. Directly, a person is quiet himself, that is, awakes a little. He hears the different intonations and begins to distinguish other people's lies. Ouspensky. The more you talk about it, the more you think about it, the further from it you go. Stop talking, stop thinking, and there is nothing you will not understand. Sing San. Drown all sound in my silence to hear my words of words. Meher Baba. The whole world is tormented by words, and there is no one who does without words. But in so far as one is free from words, does one really understand words? Sarah. Treasury of Songs, verse 88. To reconnect consciousness with the unconscious, to make consciousness symbolic, is to reconnect words with silence, to let the silence in. If consciousness is all words and no silence, the unconscious remains unconscious. N.O. Brown. He said, I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my tongue. I have placed a watch over my mouth. I became a dumb and was silent. Held my peace even from good things. Saint Benedict. Quietness is the master of the dead. Tao Te Ching. Those who know do not talk, and talkers do not know. Tao Te Ching. He who tells the truth says almost nothing. Portia. Do not squander your treasure. Exuberance is a good stimulus towards action, but the inner light grows in silence and concentration. Ephraim the Syrian says, good speech is silver, but silence is pure gold. Way of a Pilgrim. I did not eat, so they said I was fasting. I did not speak, so they said I was Muni. Ramana Maharishi. O Lord, thou shalt open my lips, and my mouth shall declare thy praise. Bible. Ironic that a bunch of dudes who never shut the fuck up are saying that you should stop talking. Yeah, there's definitely some stuff to unpack with a lot of what goes on in this book, because this whole time and all these quotes, they did not quote a single woman. And the thing is, there is no such thing as spirituality being absent in women. It's that most women don't think to speak the things that they come to conclusions of, because it's such basic stuff that they learn so early on in life, because they're faced with their own mortality by seeing blood from the time they're 9 to 14 or whatever, that they've already come up with so much of the things that adult men don't figure out until their 20s and 30s, right? And we see that in the book, because that's why they feel a need to write it down. That's why they feel a need to share it. That's why they feel a need to express it and say it and declare it and make it known, whereas women have been oh, because it's just what they have accepted a long time ago and questioned whether or not it was obvious. Okay. Because we go through 2-week-long period cycles. Because, right, the only inclination I have is to say, gosh, what's up with that? Okay. So it does feel like subservience. It feels like subservience. Some people in truth, sure. Okay, cool. Some people need to hear what they're not listening to in the silence. If your silence was peaceful, you would have not spoken. Oh my God, right. Wide open, wide open. That's it. That's that section. So we are kind of done with Be Here Now for the evening. Read 2 little sections of it. I could read the next one. I don't want to. Or read the next 2 together, Sleeping and Eating. Pain to my ears. Pain to my ears. So, I got 15 minutes until I have to roll the ads. It got real quiet in here. I feel a few people fell off when I started reading. It's weird. The people will say one thing that they like, and then they just like don't even do it or want it, and it's like, okay, so why did you say it? Who knows? Nothing personal to anyone. It's just kind of a funny thing I observe. So I was going to read my start, or just the new pages. If anybody had any feedback or input, or like when I read, or would prefer that I talk and chat a bit before I do that. I like the new pages are cool. I think I liked them a lot. It took an interesting turn where it got a little more serious, and I think that already the pamphlet I'm doing is a lot more, not, I don't want to say based in science, but I am a little more fixated on like the scientific aspect of things like energy, electricity, magnets, vibrations, anatomy, autonomy, atoms in general, right? So that is a big part of it for me, whereas Ram Dass was more about the psychology and the mind and the brain, right? Whoa, my whole computers went doo 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 and froze when you followed me. So thank you for the follow, Bajing. I hope that's a good thing. Seemed like maybe you're cool, yeah? Okay. What do we think? I am not doing readings right now, so no point in asking. I was reading Be Here Now, but I'm done, and then I was going to read what I was writing in response to Be Here Now, but nobody seems to be talking right now, which I find kind of interesting and kind of funny, because it's a reflection of everything, isn't it? Okay. Because it is supposed to remind you of the things that you have already done and already experienced in some way, shape, or form, yeah? I'll go back to chat mode. I'm going to roll the ads and go back to chat mode for a bit and see if anybody is chatting, and then if not, I'll go back to reading, and I'll read this. Oh, hi. Did you just get here? Or have you been here? I was just reading Be Here Now. I'm good. How are you? I said I'd do a tarot reading next time you were on stream, right? Oh, cool. Okay, so I was gonna, well, I've said this so many times. A bunch of people came with you, huh? So, I was reading Be Here Now, and since I began, I embarked on this journey of writing a bit of a response. Nice. What movie? A response to Be Here Now. Be Forever Always. And it's not done, but I've been reading it out loud and kind of like minding my progress along the way. So I just read some excerpts from Be Here Now, and I was going to, nice, never heard of it. I was going to read this, but nobody was really chatting with me. Nobody had any feedback or said anything. So I was going to go back into chat mode, but I don't know. I got to roll ads soon anyway. Oh, this looks like something I might be into, but also might just be kind of scary. So, ooh, I feel like I'm hearing a song, but it's maybe not a real song. What is it that you could ever hope for? What is it that you had in mind? What is it you call my name for? What is it that you do with your time? I guess I kind of just made it up. I don't know. Kind of a cool. I wish I could make my original music better than I can. It dead ends fast for me. I get frustrated. I also have no direction and no instruments and no producing skills. It's much easier to take a song that already exists and sample, layer, or replicate it. But that was fun. Groovy. It's about the funk, dude. Summer of the funk. So we're just all lurking. No feedback. Am I reading or am I not? Start with this little poem. I stuck in there because I was like, fuck, the pen died. I was going to keep writing, but the pen died. I need to get the same exact pen. 8 people watching. Okay. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Well, okay. 7 lurkers if you're chatting with me. No feedback, though. You're not even saying anything. Should I read this? Or should I just go chat? Or should I try to do some tarot? What do you want? Okay. Okay, I'll read this poem while you decide. I just like one night I had a long night and was very emotional. It was dark and I was working on these shoes. Oh, I will show you the shoes. I'll show you the shoes too. Okay. So I just like wrote this before I passed out one night when I was feeling very overwhelmed and emotional. And I want to write poetry because sometimes when I see beautiful things, I just scream. Not because I hate it or I'm afraid, but because my heart is never confined. When it bursts, it's already something. So I release when love's in front of me. That's the feeling of greatness in being. The love to be shared from person to person is in I'm what my eyes desire. I don't know what this says. I see beauty all around me. Clearly. No, that says my name. But clearly. Okay, see it all around me. Clearly. I don't know. Really bad handwriting, smeary ink. It looks nice though, right? Poetry. Love poetry. I love poetry. Oh, poetry. I'm like Nicole Kidman and Moulin Rouge. Oh, poetry. Poetry. Oh, okay. Yeah. We've seen Moulin Rouge, yes? Oh, God, what a great movie. She's an amazing actor in that. Cheers to Nicole Kidman, yes? So, I only got 10 minutes till the ad break. Oh, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Remember, I need to take a piss. So, yeah, that's like in counterpart to the TikTok that's like, do you want to be a girl that poops or a bitch that shits? It's like, do you want to be a girl that pees or a bitch that takes a piss? Yeah, okay. So make it masculine, I guess. Whatever. It's a joke. Relax. Let's go. I'm gonna roll the ads. 3 minutes. You know what I'm doing? Taking a big fat fucking piss. Okay. Some dude's like, ah. Okay. Y'all need to seriously chill. This is not real silly hours of the morning. Not real silly hours. Silly hours. I just keep saying silly hours. Silly illy hours of the morning? No. Just illy hours of the morning. Serious hours only. Very wise for being so young. Yes. Haunting. Okay. Be back in 3. Okay, so we're deciding that we're gonna do Be Forever Always. Sorry, it still says Be Here Now. Do you want to hear the new pages or do you want to hear the thing in full? Is the question now that I ask you as I pack this bowl of reverence. Maybe grab more incense. Even the fleece just went out, so enjoy the smell of Cancer season and summertime rolling in. Flooding waters of emotion coming through, like feminine, divine energy. Just the new ones? Where'd you leave off? What's new to you? I feel like green to orange is probably like the new pages because there was a few that I read, but they didn't get very far. It wasn't. Oh, I forgot to put my rings back on after I went to the bathroom. I like wearing rings sometimes, and sometimes I don't. It's interesting. It's like when I feel like I need to protect myself, I'm wearing more rings than not, right? Kind of, probably. Be forever, always. In response to Be Here Now. I feel like I should just read the whole thing, but maybe you're bored of it because you've heard it too many times and nobody else is saying anything. So they're like, oh, curious to hear the whole thing, but they don't get to because they can't speak up and say, yeah, start from the top. So people who have already heard it are like, just give you the new stuff. Period. So fuck them, right? Yeah. No, right? You've heard it, right? You've heard it? You're the only one chatting with me. I feel like I can tell somebody would like to hear it from the top, but they don't get to if they can't speak up. And if you've already heard it, then this is about you. Especially because you're my number one sub this month or week or something. It means kind of nothing except for I do things like that where I say, oh, that was so nice of you to give me all those songs. Thank you. Okay, relax. Oh, JoJo Monopoly. What a it's weird. So it's it says connected. Not really. Okay, it's a thing.